Sidelines live production. I'm your host, Loren Meadows of GatorBaitMedia.com with the best shoe game in the Gator media. And tonight we will be joined by Brown of SEC Sidelines, who is live at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Arch Manning was the hot topic of the day, with the Gators on deck with DJ Lagway headlining the Gators visit tomorrow. Later, we will be joined by Florida Victorious Director of Content, Nick Delatorre, to talk about what we expect from Coach Napier and the Gators tomorrow, and even check in on the Gators baseball program. Kicks of the Week returns, as well as Hype or Have At It. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Melden Law and Titan MRI and Imaging. Please like and subscribe to the Lowdown with Loren Meadows on YouTube and Facebook, and follow yours truly on Ohio Gator for Life at Instagram and X at Real Ohio Gator. Let's get to it. A lot going on today. Atlanta's a hopping place. Got Beyonce in the building, next door to the Omni where the SEC Media Days is going on. We got the All-Star game right now. National All-Stars lead the American All-Stars 2-0. Paul Skeens, SEC great, started. I think now they've thrown Kershaw as well as Webb, and Schoolball started for the American League. Right now, the National League All-Stars lead 2-0 in Atlanta. I'm sure Beyonce is getting ready to throw down at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. And then next door, we got SEC Media Days. And with that, is Rob ready to go? Bring in Brown of SEC Sidelines, who will be joining us to talk about what's going down, particularly with the Gators coming into town tomorrow, with DJ Lagway, Caleb Banks, and Jake Slaughter ready to join. So should be coming soon. So as we wait on Rob. But right now, I want to ask the listeners as we talk about this day. Obviously, we know SEC Media Days, Beyonce in Atlanta, but does the All-Star game matter anymore? I heard a couple people talking about online that, didn't really matter. The SEC and, the SEC and others were, taking stage. But with the All-Star game, does it really matter anymore? Is it something that people are interested in? I know they use it for home field advantage for the World Series, but chime in and let us know. When Rob comes in, we'll talk to him about that before we get into Media Days as well. So with that, bring in Brown of SEC Sidelines. How you doing, Rob?
Doing great, man. Just got back in from a quick dinner at the Kaleidoscope up here in Atlanta, out here. And I tell you, we were watching the All-Star game while we were at dinner. And I think it matters just because it's in Atlanta and we're here in Atlanta.
Okay.
My daughter lives 0.97 miles from the Battery. And if I'm overserved, I run home or walk home. I don't worry about it. But I think it's a big deal. But I'll tell you what I was most impressed with Ronald Acuna. 2 knee surgeries last year. Mm-hmm. Don't know who his orthopedic surgeon is. That was a big deal. And Caminero for the Rays. I don't know about baseball like, say, you or Buddy do. Mm-hmm. I love baseball. Love to watch it.
Right. Well,
that guy is a natural. I haven't seen a guy with a swing. It's effortless.
Right.
No doubt. Yeah, I think it matters. You know what? I just love baseball. I think it's the greatest spectator sport that you can attend.
You think so?
I think when you do it in person, you can't beat it, because if you're at the Swamp or I'm at Jordan Hare, our stomach's up in our throats. You know what I'm talking about.
It's hard to relax at an SEC game, things like that. But, I think it's one of those things as we see, other sports maybe gain popularity. I think college football is as popular as it's ever been, contrary to popular belief. You got obviously the NFL, the NBA is kind of waning, kind of up and down. And then even some of the women's sports kind of taking center stage. I know that, Beyonce's next door. You going to check her out while you're down there?
Listen, walking back from SEC Media Days, which is at the downtown Omni Centennial Park and College Football Hall of Fame, she's been here for 4 or 5 days. I think, I saw so many cowboy hats, and every 15 feet there was somebody selling cowboy hats. That that she is a cultural phenomenon. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you're
no
talking,
doubt. And
you're talking, it's just,
yeah.
she's so talented. She can pivot from any style.
Well, I was in Atlanta in the airport last Thursday night, and yeah, cowboy hats everywhere. Now the baseball stadium is a little further north of town, so not really in that rat race. But the All-Star game, does it matter? Does it not matter? Just you wonder if the how interesting the game is going to be. I know they use it to decide who has home field advantage. So it looks like right now, if the game ended today, the National League would be hosting. But I found an interesting stat, and I'll throw this out there. Obviously, people know about Paul Skeens, Clayton Kershaw, but I think his name is Tariq Skubal, who started for the Detroit Tigers, won the Cy Young early in his career. And this is his first time back to being an all-star in quite some time. Had one scholarship offer, Rob, coming out of high school from Seattle University. So quite the story for a guy that gets to start the all-star game for sure.
Yeah, and in the Battery, if you hadn't been to the Battery, there's shops and restaurants all around it. And the genius there is they collect all that tax revenue. So that's kind of the archetype, the prototypical sports arena of the future. And I don't know what, by the way, the Rays were sold. The owner apparently was cheaper than Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants, the owner of the Krusty Krab.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's going to be fun to see if they got. You think they're coming to Jacksonville?
I've heard, different things, but from what somebody said, they really want to try to build up that area around St. Petersburg. I heard that. So that's maybe something that they want to invest in. We'll see as we're going forward. But let's get to talking season. You're there at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we had LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. Today, we had Kirby Smart of Georgia, Hugh Freeze with Jackson Arnold and others, Josh Heupel, and the man of the hour, obviously, Coach Steve Sarkisian, but Arch Manning, center stage. What have you seen there at SEC Media Days? Obviously, I know we're going to talk about Arch Manning, but the first couple of days, Rob, what stood out to you about it here at the Media Days?
Really, that when you're here, it really hits you how big a deal it is to be a coach in the Southeastern Conference, to be a student athlete in the Southeastern Conference. And also, it's easy to get caught up in all the negativity. I'm all about guys making money, man. I'm a capitalist. I just don't like being able to transfer, at will. But when you talk to these student athletes from all these schools and these coaches like we do, it'll reaffirm your faith that not only is this the greatest conference in America, yeah, it's under battle, under siege from the Big Ten or whatever, and it should be, because complacency will kill you. But these kids, man, they're great. You just, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm gonna get everything I can out of DJ Lagway, Billy Napier, and the Florida contingent. But man, when you're here at Media Days, and I got to talk to a lot of these guys off to the side, no camera, no nothing going. We're going to be fine. In fact, we're going to be better than Ezra. I think college football is in great hands. You talk to Gary Stoken, CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Kickoff Classic for Chick-fil-A. Talk to, listen, man, General Rich Clark, who's the head of the College Football Playoff Committee. He's my age. I mean, I remember him in college. He was a 4-year starter on the defensive line for the Air Force Academy. He's from the Bay Area out in California. Listen, the interest, the passion, and the pain of what we're going through with NIL and the portal is temporary. Pride is forever. That's what separates college from all other sports. It's the love of the laundry. And I'm telling you, Weeks, the linebacker at LSU, said it best. We're not talking about finances and all this balance sheets. He goes, we're playing ball, dude.
Right. Well, I've said that, Rob. On your show, when you kick off and it's time to start cracking, it's 100 yards long, 53 in the third wide. And like I said, it's a game of savages played by kings.
I love that quote.
You try to break a man's will 50 to 60 times a game. And then at the end, you shake hands. And that's the beauty of it. And yeah, I mean, he hit it best. Whit Weeks talked about just the purity of it. And we're going to get to Arch Manning in a minute, but there was a couple other quarterbacks that showed up. You had Lenore Sellers, you had Austin Simmons, Diego Pavia on the first day. You had Gunnar Stockton today. Outside of the obvious, and we're going to get to Arch Manning, which of the QBs, and the QBs have kind of started to take center stage in the SEC, particularly on offense, was it anybody outside of Arch Manning, and we know the groundswell with him, who stood out to you of that group of signal callers? You could throw Garrett Nussmeier in there as well. Did anybody stand out as, wow, I didn't know that about him? Or, obviously we don't get to talk to everybody. Wow, he was real impressive.
All right, Gunnar Stockton, Rabun County, North Georgia. Keep in mind, that's where they filmed the movie Deliverance. Okay. He's a tough kid, drives a 22-year-old truck with roll-down windows. I don't know if he has an 8-track player or not, but if he does, I may nominate him for president. I'm serious.
All right.
But I'm going to tell you, very impressive. And I've been asking this question to players from every school. I go, there's a popular narrative out there. You can't coach these kids hard. You can't do it. You got to take it easy on them. You know what? In the last 4 or 5 years, the military recruitment's down 30, 40, 50%. The one group that never went down, they went up, is United States Marine Corps. These kids in college, I asked Gunnar Stockton this. I asked Eason, the defensive lineman for Tennessee. I said, I got 4 kids of my own. They've always said this to me, and it means a lot. I always thought if you weren't pushing me hard, you didn't love me as much. And I said, Gunnar, talk about that junkyard dog mentality at Georgia, how y'all get after people's ass for a full 60, and how that's created a mindset. And he goes, absolutely. He said, Coach Smart gives you all you can take, and then you get seconds. He said, but you find out who you can count on in practice and who you can count on in the games. If you're going to quit, we want to run you off in practice. You pick the school. Now, Arch Manning, I mean, when he came in today, none of us were around.
Paint the scene for us.
It's fans of not just Texas. It's every school. I mean, I wasn't around in New York when the Beatles came to Shea Stadium in 1964 and got off at JFK. But my parents have told me it was a pretty big deal. When Arch walked in today, I mean, it's crazy. And we talked to David Cutcliffe last week on our morning show, Sidelines, on this channel.
Mm-hmm. And
I said, what talked about? Because he coached Cooper, Arch's dad. Maybe the best athlete of them all. Had a congenital neck, spinal deal. Lucky he lived. He's been coming up there to Durham, North Carolina since he was a little guy. Arch Manning and his brother. And he said, I said, what'd you talk to him about? He goes, I just said, Arch, I'm going to give you the same advice I gave your Uncle Peyton when I coached him at Tennessee and your Uncle Eli at Ole Miss. And your grandfather will tell you this too. Just be a good teammate. I'm telling you, Arch Manning today, he takes his offensive lineman out. He buys them dinner. He does it. But you know what? He doesn't get to spend any of his NIL money. He made a promise to his grandfather, Archibald Manning from Drew, Mississippi, down on Highway 49 in the Delta. He said, you don't get to spend any of that NIL money until you've earned that starting quarterback job. So all these people want to criticize college football. You're crazy. You've talked a lot about DJ Lagway. Took money out of his own pocket for softball, other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, my kids are that, a little bit older. We're in great shape in this country.
Yeah.
Go to media days. Go see these kids. Quit listening to all the narrative. You can't have a new reality with an old mentality.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that, and then you brought up another point, from a football standpoint, where do you see, you talked about Arch Manning and his command, but where do you see him? I mean, are you buying it? Is anything you saw today that made you think, man, this kid, everything they say is advertised that, obviously they're not in t-shirt and shorts, but does he stand out as somebody that, hey, if Texas is willing to give him the ball, that this is somebody that could carry this football team to a national title?
He's got a warrior mentality, and he's what you hear about. Talking to a lot of people. I mean, Coach David Cutcliffe was there. I was talking to him yesterday. He's been around him all of his life. Arch understands where he's from, who he is, and what's expected of him. And more than anything, I agree with what David Cutcliffe said. He wants to be a great teammate. Mm-hmm. And he's not one of these kids that was born on third base and thinks he hit a triple. He's an impressive kid. Mm-hmm. He's a good-looking kid. He's very charismatic. But if you're in that locker room with him, I would imagine he's going to get real up close and personal if you aren't giving everything you got. And you look at the great quarterbacks. That's what separates them from everybody else.
Yeah, no doubt. And then you brought up, and we want to once again send our prayers to the people of Texas and even some people in Eastern North Carolina as well. They got hit a little bit as well. But you brought up Michael Taff, and we'll bring in Nick here in a minute. But had a tie, I guess, that had some. I saw your show earlier. Had a tie with the victims. I was actually there. I don't know if you heard me say that. I was there about 20 miles south of that. Obviously, I was in the hill country, a little higher, so wasn't affected by it as much. But, shout out to Michael Taff, who former walk-on, and football's full of those type of stories. A guy that probably could have got paid, had a really good year last year, but came back mainly probably in search of that elusive national title for Texas. Been quite some time, and just want to give a shout out to Michael Taff as well. But tomorrow we got the Gators coming up, and with that, there'll be one guy that'll be there when the Gators come in, and that's Director of Content for Florida Victorious, Nick Delatorre, who joins us as well from Atlanta. He was having trouble getting in his room, but I think he's with us now. What's up, Nick?
Yeah, long day, made longer by the battery in the door not working.
Right. That's a new one.
We're here.
So you're at the Omni?
No. I'm at I don't know. I'm still here. I'm at a different hotel. Okay. Who knows who's here and who's listening to the show? I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta.
No doubt.
I'm in Atlanta at one of the Marriotts in Atlanta.
Right. Well, tomorrow the Gators go, and it'll be the Alabama Crimson Tide first, Jeff Levy and Mississippi State, followed by Coach Billy Napier, along with Caleb Banks, Jake Slaughter, and DJ Lagway. Nick, you're very close to the program. You've had conversations. You're kind of a little bit with Florida Victorious. You get a little bit more insight than others, but, still maintaining a non-biased kind of opinion, even though we know who you root for, I think. But, when it comes to these Gators, what can we expect tomorrow from Billy Napier and, the three young men that he is bringing to Atlanta?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think they made the right decision to bring DJ Lagway. I think we see Arch. I think about half the teams brought quarterbacks. All the ones who know who their QB1 is going to be, I think, brought quarterbacks for the most part. But Billy usually uses this as a reward for older players. Jake Slaughter, I think, fifth-year senior. Caleb Banks, fifth-year senior. Tyreek Sapp as a media guy.
Yeah, man, that would have been.
I'll talk to Tyreek Sapp.
Home run,
whenever.
I was shocked Sapp didn't make the trip.
I thought that could be a guy, but there's no quarterback debate at Florida. If you want to debate, go debate your mama. There's no debate for QB1 at Florida, and you're not worried about DJ. DJ's done so much media. He does so much NIL stuff with his partners, both with Florida Victorious and then outside. I mean, I think he was the first Florida athlete to have a Gatorade deal. So it to me, it's the right decision. But I was going back, and trying to search in the car, called Matthew Hutchinson. Shout out to Hutch, great SID at Florida. I don't know the last time Florida brought a true sophomore to media day.
Right.
So while I think it's the right decision, it's won me. You can probably tell that I've been around for a little while with this gray hair. But since 2013, I can't remember a true sophomore. So I'm excited to see how they handle it. I talked to a lot of the guys. We did our 1/3 of our Florida Victorious football media day today, and we're asking the guys who's best dressed, who's got the best drip. A lot of guys said Caleb Banks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Caleb Banks wears tomorrow, what he has. I know he has an extensive jewelry collection.
Yeah.
But DJ Lagway, I think, is going to be asked a ton about his arm, a ton about being the starting quarterback. Jake Slaughter, nicest guy you'll ever meet. I can't believe I had the opportunity. We sat down for an hour and a half. He was answering questions from members last Thursday. Every time he sees me, he asks how my wife is doing, asks how my daughter's doing. Nicest kid. Not going to be a great quote. The guys that Florida brought, you're not going to be worried about any bulletin board material, I think,
Right.
if you're the SIDs.
I'm gonna call.
Sap might have got it. Sap might have got himself rolling and said some stuff.
Sap might have been. He about to get fired up pretty good about them high combatants that he likes to talk about when they come to town. But I'm gonna do a dark horse on best drip. My man Cameron James. I seen Cam James throw it out there too, so he might be a dark horse. But Rob, when we talk about Lagway, is it time to put the arm to bed? Is it time to put the arm to bed and stop talking about where Lagway is? I think that's kind of that's going to be the subject, but it's okay to rest a guy that's got the job in hand, has proven it on the field. Is it time to put that to bed, Rob, about Lagway's arm?
I think it is, and I think worrying is the equivalent of praying for what you don't want to happen. I think DJ Lagway is such a tough competitor. And in talking to Dr. Andrews, who we have on our morning show, who's friends with Dr. Pete and Delicato, Dr. Andrews told us recently on the show, he said, you know what I've learned in life? The older you get, stay away from doctors and you'll be healthy. So I don't know. I mean, DJ Lagway is an alpha male who I would think would get in your face if you're not giving everything you've got. I think he is another example of what I keep trying to tell people. You'll see it here in Atlanta. These student athletes, you can say all you want about the Portland NIL. We only hear about rivers when they flood. We're only hearing the bad stuff. These kids, there's so many great stories. And I will never, ever say something nice to someone just to make them feel good. If you ask me, does the dress make you look fat? And it does, I'm going to tell you. I really think Lagway, and I'm not a doctor, obviously, you can tell, but you're not going to keep that guy off the field.
Yeah.
That's why I got Florida to win 10, because he energized your culture last year. And when things weren't looking great, he found excuses to win. And that's what separates him.
Yeah.
No,
and
I wouldn't worry about him.
And Nick, this team as a whole, you got guys like Jake Slaughter, All-American, DJ Lagway, Heisman odds, I think 7th or 8th best Heisman odds. Caleb Banks came on, really looking at maybe getting himself into that first night, that Thursday night draft, if you know what I mean, this year. But last year, and talk maybe, I guess this is more an indictment on Napier. It's always kind of been not give a lot, kind of, and it was always thought to be, well, maybe he just don't want to give you too much, or maybe the Gators aren't that good. But now this is a team with a big boy schedule that's not going to sneak up on anybody. What is the thought now? Is it going to be a difference with Napier because he does have the best roster he's ever had? He's got the big time QB, got great speed on the outside, a great group of young receivers that he himself said to me, man, I mean, unbelievable. Is this going to be a different, not just media days, but what is the feel around this program now that they're ready to go compete and maybe be playing into December and making a run at this thing?
Yeah, you said that, and I go playoffs. But yeah, I think that's Florida's inside the locker room. That's their expectation. When you look around, the schedule's tough, but it's the same schedule as it was last year. Take off UCF, add USF, just drive down I-4. You get, I think, for the first time in Napier's tenure at Florida, you kind of get, no disrespect to the mighty Sharks of Long Island University, but you kind of get to ease into the season. Right. You don't have to travel to Salt Lake or play a top 10 Utah or have to get, and I remember telling Billy last offseason, being like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in South Florida. My parents went to school. I've been a Gator my entire life. I don't think you understand the passion of this rivalry, because Florida and Miami don't play as much, even in my lifetime, don't play that much. But the fan bases,
mine either.
Pilgrims and Indians, never going to get along, don't like each other. I go, and there will be fans who, if you lose that game, will never come back on your side. You're going to have to win a national championship, but they're not going to come back on your side.
Right.
And we saw that. We saw that reaction after the game. By halftime, we started seeing the reaction. So Florida knows, I think, you get I'm going to pull the schedule up so I don't mess it up, but you get those two ease-in games. Definitely, if you consider or hold it up against the last 3 years. But then it's a brutal stretch. At LSU, at Miami. You get Texas and Arch. I heard you guys talking about Arch. You get Texas and Arch. Florida wants to get that one back bad. I think because of the circumstances. I mean, I think Texas was number 1 in the country at that time, or top 3. DJ gets hurt. Aiden Warner, who was your 4th-string quarterback in the summer, or when he showed up in spring, had a torn ACL, has to have surgery, and then is thrust into playing on the road. I think Florida was defeated before that game even started. They want to get that game back, and then at A&M, we will know exactly who Florida is and what their season will be before homecoming against Mississippi State on October 18th, because that's and if you want to throw in Mississippi State and then you add Georgia, that might be one of the toughest six-game stretches of any team in the country. So we'll know a lot about Florida. You mentioned it. You look at the offensive line, you get seniors all over the place. Damian George is their starting right guard. He's 22. Jake Slaughter's 22. Austin Barber's 21 or 22. Najee Harris is the young guy, and he's a redshirt sophomore.
Right. And then who acts like a senior, I've heard. So
yeah. And then Bryce Lovett, one of the smartest guys in the room. Rod Kearney would be your 6th guy there, and maybe Cam Waits is 7th after that. But a ton of experience, an All-American center. You bring back basically your entire tight end room. It's not a super feature position, but I think Hayden Hansen has kind of grown into that blocker, what they need him to be. And then, sneaky fast, gym rat, coach's son.
Yes, sir.
But the question for me is, I love the wide receiver room. We haven't seen it. We're talking about them because of projections. You have to go. I think J. Mike Sturdivant is someone we're not talking about because we're so excited about that freshman class, and throw in TJ Abrams. But then you've got specifically the 3 in the freshmen, Dallas, Nahshon, and VB3, but also Moez Tankaro just showed up. He's all of 6'4". Sometimes, you wonder if they measure these kids with their cleats on. Looking up to him, that's for sure. But outside of J. Mike, and there was really only 1 year in 2022 at Cal, and then he kind of fell off production-wise at UCLA. I've seen him. He runs over 20 miles an hour. We were talking on Stadium and Gale last night, and they were like, Trey Wilson might be the slow guy in this group. And I pulled up a picture. They have a chalkboard in the I took it last month. They have a chalkboard where they put the best person in a bunch of different categories. Trey Wilson ran 23 miles an hour. So he's not the slowest guy in that room. Right. And we're talking about track stars in that room with Aiden Mizell. And the room is so deep, I think you can have almost like hockey sets where you're just like, hey, next line 2, line 3. And then defensively, I I think the big question for me will be interior defensive line. Do you have to ask Tyreek Sapp to come over? Is getting Betts from Baylor enough? Caleb Banks, Jamari Lyons, what does he look like? As he was coming back from his injury last year. I love the cornerback room. I like the safety room, and I think linebacker kind of like receiver. I love the players there, but we haven't seen it yet. You don't really have that guy with a bunch of starts, bunch of snaps. So
right.
I think a lot of us in the Gator bubble know these people, but there's question marks. I think there's a lot of us getting excited about what we think guys can be. We just haven't seen it yet.
Right. I want to go back to the Texas game real quick, and Rob, you could join in on this.
Please no.
The Texas game, after the game, Chimera DK's there. A couple other guys are being and going through their interviews, and they're like, I'm with Coach Nate. I'm with Coach Nate. They knew what was going on. I'm with Coach Nate. Shamar James, I'm with Coach Nate. And it was, we were there. It was, but I'm with Coach Nate. What is it that Coach Napier, for our viewers, listeners, he gets a lot. Some people really dig him. Some people really going for him. I've been tough on him. He's growing on me, though. I will give him that. But in that moment, I'm with Coach Nate. We just got to hunker down. We got to get it together. And then the next week, they'll go out and put foot in LSU. But when I left, I was leaving the stadium, and I said to myself, they love this dude. What is it that he does within that program where those kids believe, or gentlemen, men, believe in the kids to be what he's, and I'm not talking about selling, what he's preaching, what he is building to where now, if all goes right, they really take the next step as a program.
He cares. And he cares about them as people before he does about players. And, we've joked about it in the media being like, stop giving me scholar athletes of the week. Give me wins on Saturday. I want to write about something positive. I don't care about scholar athletes. I don't care about Gator Made and sending people to Tokyo. But when he got here, players were getting parking tickets because there was nowhere for them to park, but they have to be on campus all the time. Fixed parking, fixed food. Like, he listened to them and quickly addressed the things that the players, his team, said was bothering them. He sticks his neck out there for them. You never get, and I've seen some people do this where they're like, he's not taking ownership after a loss. He's not taking ownership. I'm like, yeah, he is. He jumps on every grenade that's lobbed towards them. Nick Torre could have been his quarterback and could have thrown 12 interceptions, and he would have been like, I called 12 bad plays. Nick made the right read 12 times. I called 12 bad plays. It's that kind of – it goes beyond respect. I think they respect him as a man. They respect him as a coach, but it's the way that he carries himself, the way that he cares about his players that it's genuine, and I think they feel that. And, it got ugly after – the way last season played out, you lose to Miami, and the way that you lost to Miami, no one cares about game 2. And then you get stomped by Texas A&M. We're just like, it's not working. It's not going to work. You get a couple more. That Kentucky game, I remember tweeting something like, this is what Florida should look like. That was 4 quarters. Like, I think the score is even closer than the actual game was. And the score wasn't close. But, Florida dominated that game for 60 minutes, and you're like, okay, that's a glimpse. That's a glimpse of it. And then you quickly forget about it. And then not only putting your foot in LSU, but Ole Miss was a playoff contender. Come down, you beat Ole Miss. Beat FSU. You start beating your rivals. And then I know Tulane was without a bunch of people as well, but I'm going into that Tulane game. I'm starting to hear. I'm starting to hear about that, about all the players who are sitting out. The Florida Victorious, I'm hearing a little bit more, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait to put this stuff out before game time. But I knew Cam Jackson wasn't playing, Caleb Banks, and I'm just they're running through the list of guys who aren't playing. I'm like, do they need Loren? Is Loren getting called down to the press box?
No more eligibility. I'm out.
Getting fitted for a helmet, and I'm like, don't lose the momentum you have. And I think a lot of people are national-wise are not considering Florida. And listen, they just had a good stretch of games. They have to continue proving it. But when DJ doesn't throw in the spring, the momentum stopped. Now, thankfully, Todd Golden and the basketball team went on a run, which took the heat off of what DJ was or wasn't doing in the spring, what Sully's team wasn't doing, which was winning. And Todd Golden was like, hey, guys, over here, look at me. But I think the momentum that they had in the offseason, a strong finishing in the signing class, and then you're like, well, I guess we're not tuning in for spring because Aiden Warner and Harrison Bailey are the ones throwing passes. So a lot remains to be seen from DJ. And look, if you go back, and I think DJ is probably a harsher critic on himself than I am, but I can't remember the game. Maybe it was Texas A&M. There was a bunch of passes he threw that should have been picked. Mm-hmm. And he has such a strong arm. And at Willis, every level you go up as a quarterback, that window shrinks, and then that window shrinks, and that window shrinks. But if you've got that Brett Favre gunslinger mentality, I can fit it in that window.
Right.
The linebackers in Willis are not the linebackers at Georgia.
Right.
Your high school in Texas didn't send a lot of linebackers to the SEC. They're going to get that. So
right.
That's part of getting reps, and you can get as many reps as you want in practice. You need live game reps. They say you don't know what you're going to do until it's real bullets start flying. You're not shooting blanks like you are in practice. But I've said it a couple times now about DJ, but I've been here since 2013, and I've never said this about a Florida quarterback. I think if DJ Lagway plays to his ability, to what we think he can, then he can get a statue outside of the stadium. And I've covered a lot of quarterbacks. Treon Harris, Felipe Frank. I don't know how much time we have. Jacoby Brissett, Jeff Driscoll. We'll run out of time if I list all the quarterbacks I've covered.
But Rob, you're big on Florida as well. I mean, speak to, kind of what Nick said with what Napier's been able to build. But I think you've been the loudest. You got Florida winning 10 and where this team could be, 3 months down the road.
I want to go back to the Texas A&M game last year. This year, I'm going to make a challenge to both of y'all, I bet. That bottom line, if Florida doesn't beat A&M in College Station, both of y'all have to wear the white milkman outfits from the Nervous Hospital for a week to work every day and in public, and you have to learn a couple of the A&M cheers.
If they don't, yeah, I'm not.
Well,
I do want to point.
I've seen it in person, and yeah,
I don't get it. I love them. I got a lot of Aggie friends. Like those cheers, I don't get them.
The cult in agriculture, quite like Texas A&M.
Yeah,
but I'll say this about Florida. You're with the Florida Collective, correct, Nick?
Yes.
And I talk to people at collectives around the SEC. What's your thought on, well, we won't want to overpromise these kids because in November or December, we might have to tell them you're not getting what you were promised because Auburn thinks, hey, let's take the high ground. Let's just, when your rivals are all balls to the walls, you got to go after it. But I'm curious, you have a massive fan base at Florida. Or do you have a lot of people on the MAP, the monthly accumulation plan, where it's coming out of their bank account? Because once you turn those on, you can never turn them off. But I'm just curious, because Florida has a massive fan base.
Yeah. We they hired me in November, and we started a membership program. And because of our relationships with the players, with the coaches, I get better. The access I get now, my goodness, I wanted that back in 2013. Loren's walking out of spring practice, and I'm waving bye to everyone that used to be leaving. So that's our aim. Our aim is, obviously, you still need third-party deals. You still need donor contributions, but we're creating a space for the Gator fan who wants that inside access. I was inside the building today watching them. We're a fan site, just like any of the other ones. We just have better access.
So you were in the Hebner Center, you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I gotta, before we get to that, talking about access, you're gonna have access to a lot coming this football season with the people at Melden Law. Melden Law, the only official law firm of the Florida Gators, proven lawyers since 1971. They do a great job of supporting Florida Gators in the Gainesville community. Giveaways, ticket giveaways, experiences. Yours truly got to give out the game ball for the Texas basketball game, along with my wife, thanks to Melden Law, and just do a great job of supporting, just everything Florida Gators. Jeffrey Melden and his lovely wife are on the whirlwind tour of Europe and Asia as we speak. But when they return, they'll be able to help you with all of your law needs, anything legal that you may need. If they don't do it, they could point you in the right direction to somebody that can help you. Melden Law, we won't back down. And with that, we got one of the best segments in talk radio, Rob. It's that time for Kicks of the Week when we break them out with the best shoe game in the Gator media. This week, we got the Zion ones, the original, the Dondadas, never been worn before. Shout out to Zion Williamson, my guy from Duke. You see that, Nick? Yeah, there you go. And we're trying to get it. Holler at StockX or GOAT. Holler at us for that sponsorship. Right? It's the Kick of the Week right there.
Yeah, come on, Nick.
I'm on the road.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got the Travis Scotts. I see you.
Travis.
Yeah. Yes, sir. There we go. So StockX, holler at us with the Kicks of the Week. Rob, go on and show us what you got this week.
Here's the average square white guy. Danner trail shoes.
There we go. So there it is, Kicks of the Week. But I
bought those before my wedding.
Okay.
As like a wedding gift. My wife doesn't know how much we spent on them. It was her and I. But I massaged it by saying, "Hey, I'm wearing this to the rehearsal dinner." They match with my blue suit. So now we're getting use out of them. Wear your shoes.
There we go. Hey, man, look.
The first one on this panel that pulls out a pair of bowling shoes, I'll Venmo you $50.
Well, my wife is she's my worst enemy, man. I tell her, I said, "Babe, you got to make me stop." And she just encourages me more.
Enabler.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So let's go through this. We do a little thing on the show, Nick. This is your first time in, man. God bless you. Glad everything's going well for you. But we do it called Hyper Have At It. And if it's hype, you're not really messing with it. Have at it. That means go with it. And I want to go to this first one. You a baseball guy? We talked about the All-Star game. Does Major League Baseball matter anymore, Nick? Hyper have at it. Is it a thing? We got about 10 minutes left. Is it still a thing?
100%.
Okay.
Despite Rob Manfred's best efforts, the game is growing. I went on a rant with this Eric Reasoner, who's our CEO. He's a Reds fan. The Reds and the Marlins were playing, and he was like, "Ooh, let's turn it on in the office. We'll have it on in the background." It was a day game. I said, "We're not going to be able to." He goes, "Why?" I go, "Because it's the Marlins. They're blacked out." He goes, "We're in Gainesville." I go, Yep. Since 2013, I can't watch the Marlins. I guess they expect me to make the 10.5, 11-hour round trip drive.
Yeah, basically, to Little Havana to go watch
to go watch the Marlins. And what are we doing? Blacking me out of watching the Marlins. Right. When I live in Gainesville and they play in Little Havana. But I think the game is growing. There's more diversity in the game. I'm an old school guy. I'm like a mix of an old school guy, but if you hit a home run, watch it. Do whatever you want. When I was playing, the guy in front of me pimped a home run. I wore the next pitch.
Oh, yeah.
The pitcher didn't have to wait for my buddy to come up again because the message that I was going to give to my idiot teammate, hey, you see these laces on my ribs? Stop watching your home runs. Get around the bases. So I like them celebrating. You want to yell? You strike me out. You want to yell? Cool. I'm going to do so. I'm going to retaliate. When I hit a double, I'll be staring you down. But I like that baseball polices itself. I don't know that we get that anymore. Guys are throwing too hard, and you got to keep it below the armpits and above the knees. But I like the baseball polices itself. I think there's more people getting into baseball. And I'd like to see more like golf is having this big incursion of YouTubers and social media and content creators that bringing all kinds of new. I would like to see that with baseball. I'll give a free shout out to the Baseball Bat Bros. Love their YouTube channel, but stuff like that I think gets younger people involved in the game. But my goodness, let me watch my team that is 5 hours away from me. I can't even watch the Marlins while they have a fun and good team.
Right, no doubt.
Hype.
Well, I'll start this with,
hype forever.
I'll start this with you. For the first time since 2018, 2024 had no coaches fired. I know you hot and cold on Hugh Freeze. Sam Pittman almost got the guillotine last year. Billy Napier was on the slippery slope at one time. But Rob, hyper have at it. The SEC will go through another year with no head coaches being fired. You don't have to name who you think will, but let's just say, or you can. It's up to you. You your own man. Hyper have at it. No SEC coaches will be fired this season, after this season.
I would say Arkansas doesn't. If Sam Pittman wins 7 games, they'll keep him.
Okay.
So no, because you got a $21.5 million gratuity tax put on top of anybody you fire. So that right there has basically become, let's say purgatory for coaches. You'd have to be caught, with a dead woman in bed. I don't know, something horrible. I don't think it's just, you're not the firing of coaches. What you're going to start having more of is, we'll keep you, but you're not going to run the offense or you're not going to run the defense. We're going to go do what Ohio State did with Chip Kelly. That's going to become more of the norm going forward. But I say that, and I'm not going to be surprised if Nick Saban comes back into coaching in the next year or two. I'm not. He's too competitive. He's too young. He's too vibrant. I think he'll come back. So somebody may fire a coach to get Saban. To get 4 or 5 years out of him. Hey, man, right. I would.
Nick, hyper have at it. The SEC will go through another year with no head coaches being fired.
Have at it. There's too much money. They're printing money. They'll pay whatever tax it is to get out of a contract.
So it's hype. And also, they will fire some coaches.
Hype. They will fire. Yeah. I think there's some schools who are spending as if they know their jobs are on the line. And if you spend a bunch and you come home and your wife isn't happy with you, you might be going back to the store to return it.
Yes.
And I think there will be some ADs returning, heading back to the Burlington Coat Factory, heading back to Neiman Marcus to make some returns.
No doubt. Last one. So it was brought to me that media days is becoming such a big deal. More people being involved in the media, shows like this, Stadium and Gale, SEC Sidelines, players being involved now. SEC media got Beyonce next door. SEC media days will become as big as, say, the MLB All-Star Game, the NBA All-Star Game, where it becomes a place where who's who starts to meet. Hyper have at it, Rob.
It already is. I mean, I'm down there walking back to, around the Omni. There's nothing else like it in college sports. Everybody that's anybody is there because they want to get their message out. Honestly, I'm always honest. I'll tell you what I think. It's bigger than the Major League All-Star Game. I really do think that.
Baseball guy.
I love baseball,
Nick.
but it's just in Atlanta it is.
Yeah. Nick.
Yeah, I can skip Atlanta. Not my favorite city. Not a Braves fan. I love.
We don't have a lot of Atlanta listeners or viewers. So
I love the brand of baseball the Braves are playing this year. Fantastic. Can barely see you from where you are in the NL East standings below my Marlins.
12 below.
Yeah, sounds like the Alaskan Braves. That's how cold it is. No, it is an event. It's a spectacle. Is what it is. You get crazy questions. I think it's gotten a little bit tamer in years as guys become more brand conscious. But like I remember when Dominic Easley, he was a dang character. Some Alabama AL.com or an Alabama student newspaper asked him about Bear Bryant, and he's like, I don't know who it is, and it was all over. And I'm like, this kid's from Brooklyn.
Right. Yeah.
He has no idea.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah.
I'm like, Bear Bryant wasn't alive when he was born.
Right.
He's watching cartoons in New York. There's not a football hotbed.
Yeah, but I bet he knows who Sebastian Talifero is and Jay-Z. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And I was just like, this is a kid from Brooklyn. He has no idea. I'm like, he might not know who Steve Spurrier is.
Right.
And he's going to play against Steve Spurrier this year at South Carolina. Might not know who that is. It's a spectacle. I love it. I've only been in Atlanta a couple of times. I don't love going to Birmingham either. My goodness, get me to Nashville. Can we move this thing to Nashville? But like Birmingham, the Alabama days when you'd have the people downstairs, you've got the escalator up. It was a spectacle. I kind of like moving around, but no, it's not the MLB All-Star Game, which is the best All-Star game of any professional sport.
Okay, shout out to the Midsummer Classic. And with that, we want to send a shout out to Titan MRI and Imaging. Titan MRI and Imaging has acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Calorio started Highfield MRI in 1997. Now he's back. Titan MRI and Imaging has 3 locations, 2 in Gainesville with his Park Avenue location, and now at the Millennium Center and 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging now accepts insurance or through their convenient self-pay options. They have MRIs, CT scans, X-rays, ultrasound, easy scheduling with lots of options, including evenings, larger MRI machines for patient comfort, no ERs, no hospitals, no problem. Coming soon to Ocala to better serve Marion County and the surrounding area, Titan MRI is your choice. Before we get out of here, gentlemen, give us one last thought. What will we take from SEC Media Days as a whole? Shout out to the Florida Gators. Hit that button to join Gator Bait Media and read Buddy Martin, Franz Beard, and yours truly once he gets his life in order with his new company. And Rob, what do you expect?
Coaches' salaries are going to start going down to offset all these expenses because they can't lay off everybody. And I think also transfer portal is out because guys are going to realize real NIL is staying at the same school for a long time. And whether you're a starter or not, you've always got a home to go back to.
Nick?
Yeah, everyone says that I made a 40-year decision out of 4. Well, there's guys who are on school 5 and year 6 right now. Yeah. I think what I will take away and what Gator fans will take away from tomorrow, the group of 3 that Florida brings are going to represent the university well.
Very good. Catch him on.
We will miss Tyreek Sapp.
Oh, my God. Yes, sir. Catch him on Florida Victorious as well as Stadium and Gale. Shout out to Slick. Tell Slick holler at me, man. I'm trying to get him on the show. So, definitely. Who you guys got? You got anybody coming on soon on Stadium and Gale? We have
that independent Florida media event. They planned it when I was in the hospital, but we've got a bunch of guys, Florida football players who are coming through. That's July 27th at First Magnitude in Gainesville. Gator Dave, High Top, or Silk will have stuff on their Twitter for that. I don't have it ready for me, but We're plugging this show.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
We're plugging
Definitely
the
hit me
Throwdown.
up, man. Definitely, sir. And Rob, who you got on the show tomorrow?
We'll do a quick 3 or 4 minutes out in front of the College Hall of Fame in the morning before I go get something for breakfast at Chick-fil-A. And then we'll be on tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern. So we're just going to catch all those coaches, Alabama, Mississippi State. It's going to be interesting. Florida, Oklahoma. So we'll be getting a lot of sound bites for tomorrow. Going to be focusing on all those teams. But I love that, Victoria. It ain't a 40-year decision. It's a 60 or 70-year decision
No
for
doubt.
the rest of your life. I mean, cost is only an issue in the absence of added value.
Right.
Staying at one school and getting a degree and having a bunch of guys you can call your family and the Gator Nation, in this case, don't leave.
No doubt, man. Well, appreciate you guys joining us.
Thank you.
Media Days tomorrow, the Gators, DJ Lagway, Caleb Banks, Jake Slaughter, head coach Billy Napier tomorrow. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks for being on, Nick. Rob, you know what it is. See you next week, recording live from somewhere. Have a good evening.
Good night. Get your bowling shoes ready.